Welcome to the what's today's date, May 9th? May 8th, 2025 annual meeting of the members of the Columbia Association. Just a few things here. First thing we need to do is call the roll of the members. We go Delilah.
Here.
Ashley.
Here.
Sky.
Here.
Wesley.
Here.
Wes.
Here.
Okay. Reg.
Here.
Karen.
Here.
Mike. Not
He
yet.
was online, and now he's gone.
Okay. Eric.
Here.
Colin.
Here.
I am here. Sean.
Here.
All right, super. All right. Just a quick note for everybody. This is a hybrid meeting. We have both members and residents, members and residents here in the boardroom and also online. We will be live streaming this, and then it will be available on YouTube later for people to view. If you have a personal device, please silence it or turn it off, please, so we don't interrupt folks while they're speaking tonight. Just a quick note, this is one of 3 meetings that we're having tonight. We'll walk it through nice and slow, but hang on, this is a slightly different format than we normally have. First order of business is approval of the agenda. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
All right, thank you, Reg.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Eric. Any discussion on the agenda? Very good. We'll start with Reg.
Yes.
Thank you. Karen.
Yes.
Eric.
Yes.
Colin.
Yes.
Delilah.
Yes.
Ashley.
Yes.
Sky.
Yes.
Wes.
Yep.
Mike. Did not make it back. Okay. So that'll be 9 in favor, none against.
He is online. I don't know where Drew went. There. Okay, sorry. He is back on properly as Michael.
Okay. All right. Mike, can you hear us?
He can. He's still not a panelist.
Okay,
so.
all right. We'll update it as we go along here. All right. While we're getting that done, we'll start with resident speak out for the evening. Typical ground rules here. We will call your name when your name is called. 3 minutes for individuals, 5 minutes for groups. We'll start with Mr. Larry Schoen, followed by Christina Mari, and then Joan Lankos. Good evening, Larry.
Good evening. Hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good evening, members of the board. My name is Larry Schoen, and I've come to speak to you about the Sister Cities and Multicultural programs that I've been involved with since 1996. A group called Friends of IMAC, more about that later. Met to discuss ideas about the programs and our international relationships. I speak to you this evening on behalf of that group. I'll get right to the chase, start with our request.
Is your microphone on? I'm sorry.
Oh, that's why I asked if you could hear me. Let's see.
Do I need to start anything over or just start from here?
I think we're good.
Don't repeat anything?
If you want to start over, that's fine.
It's up to you. You're in charge.
We'll reset. Go ahead.
So I'll cut right to the chase and get to the requests. I'll give you a little bit of background after that. But the requests are to stop the dismantling of this 50-year-old program of Sister Cities relationships and to re-engage with the community volunteers and the current IMAC committee that hasn't had a meeting for a couple of years to share information openly and freely regarding contacts in those international cities and agreements with those sister cities, to bring back the I, which stands for international in IMAC, and to reinvigorate the M, multicultural, the local multicultural activities. And my request is a promise, if you find that CA has to take certain actions to curtail things, that you do everything within staff's power to make a smooth transition to another sponsor or various sponsors, if you stick with that decision. So A little bit of history that I'm aware of. Since 1977, there's been a Sister Cities relationship with Cergy-Pontoise in France, 1990, Tres Cantos, Spain, 2014, Tema, Ghana, 2016, Cap Haitien, Haiti, and 2018, Liang, China. There's a clock, or there used to be a clock at the lakefront from Cergy. There's a restaurant in Cergy called Le Columbia. This is clearly a relationship that not only is valued by the 84 people on my email list, but is valued by our international partners. There have been about 30 or more years of exchanges. They have involved adults as well as high school students, and involve staying in the homes of residents in these countries and welcoming people to our homes. They have had themes of, and the adult exchanges have themes of arts and culture and music and food. Everybody likes food. Maggie Brown, one of our beloved past CA CEOs, actually did some of these exchanges, was active in it. As far as I know, from my history, in lack of a Columbia mayor, our international partners always ask, who's the mayor of Columbia? So we do our best by including the CEO of CA. The multicultural aspect, as far as I know, was added with Tertulia in the year 2000, which at the time was called Hispanic. And there's lots of activities, world language cafes, cultural fests, monthly international grocery store tours. Believe it or not, people found that very, very helpful along the multicultural area. Partnerships with the library, partnerships with the college, and so on. The last exchange, there was a COVID pause, like there was a lot of things, remember that? And the last exchange was in 2023. Cergy visitors came to Columbia. The last IMAC meeting was also around then in July 2023. We had some staff changes, staff furloughs during the COVID. We had staff changes. Our last staff person before the current one left in 2023, Grace Chung. So there was a period of no staff person and a bit of a lull, no committee meetings, not many announcements. I got my last announcement in 2023 about the World Languages Cafe. In August of 2024, Eliana Slotnick was introduced, at least to us volunteers, and tellingly, the word international was dropped from the title, from the emails, and so on. In February of 2025, this year, received news from our volunteers. I was blind copied, so I don't know who got it. Received news from Robin Stimson, including suspension of the exchanges. We met in March with Dan Burns and Eliana, and one of the things that we learned was there was a perceived risk on behalf of CA and other reasons for a suspension. In April, a group of volunteers met, friends of IMAC, to discuss ideas and what we could do to keep this program, this nearly 50-year-old program, alive. The charter for IMAC, an advisory committee, still exists with the I in it. We received on May 5th a notice about a virtual MAC meeting, again dropping the I, to happen later this month. So risk. I've been through this before. After 9/11/01, the school system pulled back from the program a little bit with fear, with perceived fear from parents that nobody was going to send their children.
Larry, if you could just finish your thought on this.
Okay.
Thank you for your testimony thus far.
All right, so we've been through it before. The asks are stop the further dismantling, communicate openly and completely with us, share all of the information, and if you bring back the I, reinvigorate the M, there's a lot more we were doing in the past. And if for some reason you see that this can't be a CA activity anymore, cooperate with us completely to make a smooth transition. But I hope that the other things will be possible, that you'll see the value of this program and
right.
direct staff.
Larry,
to take
thank you
action.
for your testimony. I think we have a question, at least one here.
And no numbers were forthcoming.
So typically, what does it cost? What does it cost to run these programs?
Oh, these programs, other than staff time, there is no cost. All of the volunteers completely fund their own programs. The visitors coming from overseas fund their programs, and the volunteers and staff organize the activities.
So I guess I'm confused because I see 130,000 allocated. So I'm confused why there'd be a dismantling of this program when there looks like there's money allocated for it.
As I said, I have not been given access to the budgetary numbers. We asked for what's the cost of the program. No numbers were forthcoming.
All right. Reg, do you have a question?
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir. Just out of curiosity, what do you think is the reason for the shutdown of your program, or the possibility of shutting it down? Because it seems like it's a worthwhile program. I just don't really understand. Are you a victim of the COVID, remnants of COVID, or?
There was certainly a lull during the COVID period, but we did have an exchange in 2023. I mean, I suppose Dan could address this more directly. There's perceived risk, which I don't entirely understand.
I'm sorry, you were talking about risk before. What risks? Could you help me to understand what you're
I mean, I can speak to some of it. We're not prepared to talk about this, and we can come back another time. I think the risk is liability. So the liability to CA, and depending on our involvement in the program, and that's the risk that Dan was alluding to. So it's more like, legal and insurance liability.
All right. Thank you. Sean, Ashley?
Yep, I'll just add to that. So I'm in global events for my work. There obviously is a lot of risk. I know this may not be something that the average citizen, especially if you're not traveling international, has to worry about. But even U.S. citizens coming back in, having to deal with custom borders, obviously anybody has a visa or green card. So it is a different layer of risk that CA hasn't had to address yet. But to Sean's point, this is something the staff should be more looking at as opposed to the board, because we're not involved in the details of it. When I worked at CA 16 years ago, I worked right outside Meredith's office, who ran Sister Cities. I totally agree. It's a great value and an important aspect to have in our community. I could also see how it would be more difficult for CA to run, but I imagine that our staff would support anything for helping a new sponsor take it over.
All right. And hold on, Eric. Does anybody else have a question for Mr. Schoen? Okay. Eric, one more question.
So I just wanted to clarify, I didn't necessarily expect you to have all the answers, but I'm just generally confused. So I'm just trying to figure out what the logistics are for why this would be dismantled. But thank you for presenting your testimony tonight.
I mean, I think staff could ask Eliana to reinvigorate the international part of the programs. That's what we're asking for.
Hey, Larry, I had one final question. I understand the idea of the exchanges, and I think that has been historically one of the tent poles of the IMAC, and I think that needs to be explored. But given the COVID years and the use of Zoom and Google Meet, and we got to mention Teams, of course, has that at all picked up or supplanted some of the exchanges that have gone on in addition to the exchanges at all? Has that been any kind of a focus for the committee?
I haven't seen that. Those of us who are not native speakers in another language, I speak a little bit of French, I'm taking a Spanish class now, it's very difficult to do those kinds of things on the phone and across the screen. The person-to-person exchanges, there's almost no substitute for that.
I get that. I was just curious.
We haven't yet. I mean, this is an idea to be explored, perhaps.
Well, thank you for bringing. Oh, Sky has one last question.
Yeah, one quick question. The visits to the grocery stores are still ongoing, and
Are they?
I'm asking you.
I'm not aware of it.
The language evenings, are they still ongoing?
They are. I mean, I used to get a lot of emails about them. The email traffic has not been what it has been since 2023, when we lost Grace.
All right. Thank you very much for your testimony tonight. Okay. Christina Mari, followed by Joan Lankos, and then Kat Wee. Christine? not online. We'll try and come back to Christine if she can get back online. Joan Lankos, then Kat Wee and Judith Hayes.
Good evening. Before I give my planned testimony, I want to thank Susan Krabbe for her years of service to the Columbia Association. She served under several presidents and many CA boards. Hasn't always been easy. But Susan has always had the best interest of the Columbia Association at heart. Thank you, Susan. I appreciate the work you've done. You will be missed. On to my testimony. Elections were held on April 26, 2025, to choose representatives for the Columbia Council, Columbia Association Board of Directors positions. Contested elections were held in several villages. In accordance with their charters, each Columbia village has its own election rules and procedures. In Hickory Ridge, the election rules are rather onerous, as they require candidates to sign a pledge that they, quote, will not produce or accept campaign materials not produced by the village or accept campaign contributions, end quote. Although I do not agree with this requirement and tried to get it changed ahead of time, my candidate, Sky Anderson, was adamant that the rules be followed. Therefore, her supporters only passed out village-provided materials. Meanwhile, her opponent's supporters handed out a very negative piece that misrepresented and lied about positions that Sky Anderson allegedly took on various issues. The CA board member from Oakland Mills was captured on a ring camera in Hickory Ridge, identifying herself by name, indicating her support for Sky's opponent, and stating that she was leaving materials at the door. I believe that the board member's conduct in handing out the offensive flyer is a violation of the Code of Business Conduct and Policies that all board members sign. Specifically, Section 3.0, restrictions on board members' activities, state that, quote, board members shall not engage in any communications, whether or not on behalf of CA, that defames another board member or CA employee, end quote. The same section also states that board members shall not, quote, knowingly misrepresent facts or the board's position on issues, end quote. In addition, Section 4.0 civility policy states that the board shall, quote, be civil to one another and the CA staff and treat all with respect, end quote. I am offended that a member of the CA Board of Directors would disrespect Hickory Ridge, knowingly or not, by violating our election rules. Further, I am appalled that the action by the board member from Oakland Mills is, in fact, a significant violation of the Code of Business Conduct and Policies that she signed as a member of this board. On behalf of myself and the residents of Hickory Ridge, I ask that this issue be investigated and that this board take all actions necessary and appropriate to deal with this offense. I'm providing you with a copy of what she was handing out. 12 copies.
All right. And your time is up. Thank you for your testimony tonight. Do we have any questions from the board? No. Thank you. Thank you for your testimony. Next up, Kat Wee, followed by Judith Hayes, and then Tina Horn. Good evening.
Good evening. I'm glad that she went right before me because civility is also what I'm thinking about. Apparently, it's the slogan of Columbia. And lately, I'm not seeing a whole lot of it, and especially when I was canvassing some of Bill Santos's supporters. I almost thought about, like, I was going to have to be trained on how to use pepper spray. It was that onerous, some of the reactions. And I've canvassed all over the United States in areas a lot of people wouldn't go into. And this is the first time I've ever been afraid is in Wild Lake. But that being said, Wild Lake, Bill posted on his Facebook that the election was being challenged, by the way, not the source, just so you know. And you should know that because last year I ran and I lost and I also didn't challenge. But I do understand why it was challenged, and one of the reasons I think it was, and a teenager came up to me that day because I was the only one person not wearing a uniform or a gun or HOCO drug-free, and he said, what the heck is going on here? And I said, well, it doesn't have anything to do with me, and you can ask them, but there's something with the sharps and some other information if you want to talk to the DEA. I'm just running for Columbia Association and trying to get people to vote, and about 10 people have asked me where that was because they couldn't even see the signs. So that's probably likely where it came from. Michael Danger Golibersich wrote this on Bill's Facebook page in response. Was it Italian space lasers rigging votes? So he started with a nice ethnic slur. I, for one, think it's really important for normal people to let antisocial losers know that they are antisocial losers. Again, twice there. Appeasing them, being obsequious towards them, and or treating their behavior as benign has real-world consequences. This looks like a page out of the fellow in the White House's tweets. Calling people losers, it's so uncivil. Now, I'm not sure if it's aimed at two of the men who were appointed to the Wild Lake Village Board, who are both half Italian, just so you know. My husband's here. He was at the village board meeting, and Bill, you were also there. And I love the fact that you're encouraging residents to come to things. You don't normally do that. But you should also tell them they need to obey the rules. The yelling, the screaming, the carrying on that I was told went on there, they should have been asked to leave. If you can't follow the rules, then you have to leave. And they were more than welcome to say what they wanted to say, and they had their little residents speak out, but you have to behave yourself. And one guy did yell out some slurs as well. And my husband and I are community members. I have never acted like that in a meeting, and you can all know, have I ever sat here and yelled and out of turn? Never.
All right, Kat,
So
your time is up.
I think you need an ethics about social media, because this is up there for everyone to see. This was sent to me by several people to say, look what they're saying.
All right, thank you, Kat. Thank you for your testimony tonight. Do we have any questions for Kat? All right, thanks for coming out. Judith Hayes, followed by Tina Horn, and then Jessamine Duvall.
Hey, Bill, I got my hand
Oh,
up.
I'm sorry, Mike had his hand up. I'm sorry. Kat, if you wouldn't mind.
It's really not a question. I just want to say that, look, if anyone didn't understand my humorous reference to a
Not
really
funny.
silly Trump conspiracy theory and was offended as a result, I'm genuinely sorry about that. But
I'm not that
conspiracy
familiar with
theory, that
Trump's
was what I was saying.
conspiracy theories. I
And the
try
second
not
thing-
to
excuse
read
me, Bill,
anything.
Okay.
Could I have the microphone, please? I'm not asking a question. But I'd also want to be clear that I really stand by the substance of my comments. And if you read what I wrote, it was a comment, it was a critique on our community, not an attack on any individual. It's really important that we stop normalizing antisocial behavior in civic spaces. And I don't mean shy or asocial or introverted. By antisocial, I'm saying people that are consistently toxic, mean-spirited, deceptive, or otherwise corrosive to civic norms, all right? And too many of us have just been observing that happen for a year or more, hoping the problem goes away. And what my post was saying was that we shouldn't be doing that anymore, and we need to stand up and identify when that's happening.
Wow.
So again, if anyone felt personally attacked by that, maybe consider why you thought that was directed at you, because it wasn't directed at anyone specifically.
All right, thank you, Mike. Judith Hayes. I believe she's online. Let me double check the room. Anyone? No? Okay. We'll come back to Judith. Tina Horn, followed by Jessamine Duvall, and then Joel Hurwitz. Good evening, Tina.
Hello there. My name is Tina Horn, and I am here on behalf of the Susan Krabby Fan Club, whose first meeting apparently is not tonight because we have been around for a very long time saying fabulous things. It was an honor and a privilege to serve with you when I sat on this board, and I have heard no end of appropriately fabulous things about you before and since. Thank you, and you're going to be missed. And what a privilege. Thank you.
Okay. Jessamine Duvall, and then Joel Hurwitz. Good evening.
Good evening. I'm Jessamine Duvall, Hickory Ridge resident, former member of the CA Board representing Hickory Ridge from May 2020 through April of 2022. I'm here to express my gratitude for CA senior staff, especially Susan Krabby, as she leaves us for greener pastures. So let me just set a stage for you. Brand new CA board member, May 2020. Some of you may remember 2020 was kind of a rough year for CA, for everyone. When I came on board, CA was in the middle of massive layoffs, staff furloughs. The organization's leadership was facing unprecedented changes on a daily basis, and Susan was a rock through all of it. She made sure that the board understood the impact of the pandemic on CA's operations and finances and helped navigate the organization through reopening and rebuilding over the next 2 years. Her expertise was invaluable to the board, particularly to me as a newbie during that time. If there's one big takeaway, and you'll have to bear with me, I can't see the timer with my glasses on. If there's one big takeaway I have from my time on the CA board, it's that CA senior staff is the backbone of this organization. They know their stuff, and they maintain composure while facing constant pressure, change, and sometimes unwarranted distrust and disrespect from members of the board. Time and again, they take a licking and keep on ticking. So I'm here today to say thank you to all the CA senior staff for their hard work, and especially to Susan for her many years of service and unflappable professionalism. Your shoes will be very difficult to fill. I don't envy you, Sean. I wish you all the best for your retirement, and I'm so glad to have been able to work with you over the years. Thank you for everything.
Oh, wow. Okay, any questions? All right, thank you. Joel Hurwitz? Joel, are you out there?
Evening.
Hi, Joel.
Joel Hurwitz, speaking as an individual, live in Harper's Choice. You make a big deal that you're having 3 meetings tonight. I believe it's the members' meeting. But then you had an extended discussion about board business regarding sister cities. As I signed up, asking about the council meeting. I could put it in an email, but I've done that several times over the last couple of years. I couldn't speak about it at Resident Speak Up, but I did that, including last time. I could put it on the contact the board, which I did twice. Could leave a message with the president, which I did. I get no response. I could argue about how I believe that the governing documents of the villages said that the council should nominate from among its membership and persons to be elected and serve on the board as provided in the Articles of Incorporation of CA. I did multiple times, including last time. So since you don't seem to understand English, I made simple response submissions to the website asking specifically when the slide at your orientation last week said that the Columbia Council continues to hold its annual organizational meeting but fill its formal role as contemplated by the village governing documents. What specifically is the, quote, formal role in the village governing documents? Told you what I think it is. General counsel says that council has no purpose anymore, yet you continue to have a pro forma meeting, which not required by anything, because you don't follow the one formal role. If there's another formal role than the one I presented, I would like to hear it. And if I don't get the documents I requested for regarding the election, because the president is non-responsive about that issue, about CA's voting in which villages, eventually I will have to take this to another legal forum. Don't make me do that. Either give answer tonight or please reply to my repeated request.
All right, Joel. Is that the end of your comments?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to go out on a limb here, Joel. When you asked us and you said, "Don't make me do that," what was I'm going to try and be good about this. What was the intent of that phrase?
Giving my list of potential legal action.
But should we?
One of these years.
Would it be wrong to characterize that as a threat?
If you want to take that as a potential litigation, go ahead, please.
I just want to make sure I understand what your phrasing was. This is a very touchy area, and I want to give you the benefit of the doubt, sir.
I said if I didn't get the documents, I was going to have to take it to another legal forum.
And then you said, "Don't make me do that," or something to that effect. Is that correct?
Don't make me have to sue you.
Right. And what is the intent of that?
Make you.
All right. Thank you, Joel.
Realize that eventually one of these years could be a long time, could be next year, could be next month. I'm going to deal with this.
All right. We're going to recall Christine Amari. Has Christine come back up? Do we know? Or Judith Hayes? All right. Thank you. That will conclude the resident speak out for tonight. Thank you all for participating. Moving along on our agenda here, we now have approval of the minutes from May 9th, 2024 and June 27th, 2024.
So moved.
Moved, well, it's by consent. So any objection? Hearing no objection, the minutes are approved. Now we have to do the election of the 10 directors to the Board of Directors. That's how it's written in the agenda. Sean? What do we got?
John, can take the reins on that, please?
Yep.
Yeah, there's a resolution in the packet that is titled Election of Directors to the Board, indicating whereas the following persons are the Columbia Council representatives elected to serve for FY 2026 by the members of their respective village associations: Sky Anderson, Village of Hickory Ridge; Reginald T. Avery, Village of Longreach; Karen E. Emery, Village of Oakland Mills; Michael Galibrasuch, Village of Owen Brown; Eric Greenberg, Village of River Hill; Delilah Holmes, Village of Dorsey Search; Wesley Furman, Village of King's Contrivance; Bill Santos, Village of Wild Lake; Colin Sullivan, Town Center Community Association; and Ashley Vaughn, Village of Harper's Choice. Whereas pursuant to the terms of the Columbia Association Charter and bylaws and such Columbia Council representatives are members of the corporation. Now therefore be it resolved that the members hereby elect to the Board of Directors, effective today, May 8, 2025, Delilah Holmes, Columbia Council Representative, Dorsey Search, and Wesley Furman, Columbia Council Representative, King's Contrivance, and further resolved that the members hereby re-elect to the Board of Directors, effective May 8, 2025 today, Sky Anderson, Columbia Council Representative, Hickory Ridge; Reginald T. Avery, Columbia Council Representative, Longreach; Karen E. Emery, Columbia Council Representative, Oakland Mills; Michael Galibrasuch, Columbia Council Representative, Owen Brown; Eric Greenberg, Columbia Council Representative, River Hill; Bill Santos, Columbia Council Representative, Wild Lake; Colin Sullivan, Columbia Council Representative, Town Center; and Ashley Vaughn, Columbia Council Representative, Harper's Choice. That's the resolution.
Yes, Colin.
So moved.
Colin moves.
I'll second it.
All right. Who was it over here? I heard over here first.
Sky.
Sky? Okay, Colin and Sky. Any discussion? Okay. Colin?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Reg?
Yes.
Wes,
Yes.
Sky,
Yes.
Ashley,
Yes.
Delilah,
Yes.
and I vote yes. That is a 10 in favor, 0 opposed, no abstentions. Welcome to the Board of Directors, everybody. And at this point, any objection to adjourning the meeting of the members tonight? We are adjourned as the meeting of the members. Hold on to your seats, everybody. You ready? Okay. It's a new tablet tonight, too, everybody. All right. All right. All right. We're going to run at it again. Here we go. Good evening and welcome, everybody, to the annual meeting. Hold on. Good evening and welcome, everybody, to the organizational meeting of the Board of Directors, May 8th, 2025. We're going to call to order. Once again, this is a hybrid meeting. We have members here in the boardroom and online. Roll call again. We're going to go fast this time. Everybody get ready. Ashley.
Here.
Sky.
Yes.
Wes.
Yes.
Reg.
Yes.
Karen.
Here.
Mike.
Here.
Eric.
Here.
Colin.
Here.
Delilah.
Here.
And myself, I am here. Okay. We, of course, will be taping this live. It's streamed live and will be available later on YouTube. Approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Eric and Reg. You guys did that the last time, right?
Nope.
All right.
We're just fast.
There we go. Delilah.
Yes.
Ashley.
Yes.
Sky.
Yes.
Wes.
Yes.
Reg.
Yes.
Karen.
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Eric.
Yes.
Colin.
Yes.
And I vote yes. 10-0-0. The agenda is approved. Okay, policy acknowledgement. I have here, there'll be a short intermission here so that we can sign our policies.
Correct.
So if everybody can just cool their heels, we'll be coming back after a short recess.
All right. Julia has the
We are back from our policy acknowledgement section of the agenda. Next up for today's agenda is the election of chair and vice chair for the FY26 Columbia Association Board of Directors. There we go. Let's see, here we go. First thing we need to do is, I guess, we need nominations for chair and vice chair. Do we have any nominations for chair?
We're going to do chair first.
Yes, there we go. Chair. Ashley.
I would like to nominate Colin to be chair.
Okay, so we have Colin has been nominated by Ashley. Eric, I saw your hand up.
Yeah, I'd like to nominate Karen for chair.
Eric, Karen, Anne Marie. Are there any other nominations? All right.
White smoke or?
That's already been done today. Good reference, though. Thank you, Reg. I appreciate the levity. That's good. All right. I guess we'll start with just opening statements from Colin and Karen, if you wouldn't mind. Colin, you were nominated first. I'll give you the floor.
Sure. Well, thank you, Ashley, for the nomination. Yeah, so I've obviously served as vice chair for the past year. I am really excited to be here, and I feel like this is a really good year, and this is going to be a good time. I think that we have, I think that we're going to go to great places with this board, and I think that it's a way to lead this group is maintaining civility and thinking about how we treat one another, holding each other to the highest standards that we have. I think that I'm capable of doing that. I like listening first. I don't speak very often because I think it's important that everyone else speaks, and I think that that will come out in how I run meetings. Professional background, I work at UMBC full-time. Undergrad was also at UMBC, Information Systems, Master's in Public Policy. Current doc student at College Park because I hate myself. But I would be honored to serve as chair and work with everyone here to make our community an even better place.
All right. Thank you. Karen, if you want to say a few words, we'd love to hear you.
Sure. Hopefully you guys can see me. Yeah, thanks. First of all, thanks for the nomination. That's a nice thing to have happen. Yeah, I would really like to be the chair of the board. I think that the chair has a lot of work to do in front of it in the upcoming year. And I'd like to bring a focus back to residents, which I think has been lost over the last many years. And for the board to start really following the charter that we live under. The very first page of the charter says that CA was created for the residents, and we're getting 60% of our income comes from the annual charge. And so I'd like to see us refocus on that. So that would, as chair of the board, that would be my focus, and making sure that residents are getting real value out of the Columbia Association. Another thing that I'd really like to do is I'd like to create a finance committee. I'd like to get residents together who are experts in finance to work with the new CFO and possibly the treasurer and really dig deep and provide even more insight into the budget. I know today is Susan's last day, but I'd like us to have we're not a typical corporate board, but I'd like us to have our own resident finance committee to support the board when it's making financial decisions, to give us a little bit deeper understanding than what we might currently have. So those are two things. Finally, this is my third term on the board. I'm really honored to serve the village of Oakland Mills and to be fighting for the residents across Columbia. I think it's super important. As I said before, I have a lot of experience in meeting facilitation. My career, unlike Colin, I'm not a doctoral student. I'm a business analyst and project manager, and so I have to run a lot of meetings and I have to keep order, and civility has always been one of my top priorities. So I think that would make me a good fit to be the chair of the board. Thank you, everyone.
All right, thank you. Just a quick formality here. We have two nominations. I want to make sure that I have a second for each nomination.
Oh, well.
So
Point of order, you don't
Reg
need a
will
second.
second for Karen. Do we have a second for Colin? Sky. Okay, good.
Actually, You don't need a second for nominations at all.
All right. It says it in the packet. I just want to make sure that we were closing all the holes here. All right. Any further need for discussion on this, or shall we vote here?
Hey, Bill, it's Karen. How are Michael and I supposed to vote? We're both online.
All right, Sean?
I think it was agreed upon that you would email John Kuchno with
Okay.
your votes.
Thank you.
All right.
Yes, just send me an email with your vote, and I'll count it as part of the tally and
All right.
keep it.
And here in the room, we will get ballots from Julia.
Thank you. May I borrow your pen when you're done?
Thank you. And once again, this is for the position of chair of the board,
May I borrow your pen?
Karen or Colin.
Thank you.
And while we're all voting, I wanted to thank John for reading that resolution in the last meeting there. That was quite lengthy.
I'll collect the ballots.
And I believe Ashley and I tie for the fewest number of syllables and names, so.
By the way, thank you for these new computers. These things are nice and light.
Not me.
I'm sorry?
Doesn't help me yet. Oh, yeah.
I know, I've seen these. Is it like that?
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Bring it to the help desk.
So while we're waiting, the Stevens Forest Pool, I believe, has been open for 4 days now. Hey,
Oh, yeah.
head on out, get yourself in the heated pool there. That's pretty cool. Lap swimming only. Keep that in mind. Hot tub is currently not operational, but soon to open at Memorial Day, right? Very good. Lake Fest is coming up, block party, beer garden.
Books in Bloom on Saturday.
True, yes, Books in Bloom.
Be there.
And the bike around is coming up next week, so that'll be fun. Get out on the paths.
Presentations at the library
Yep.
at Glenwood on Monday and Savage on Wednesday, in case you have constitutional rights
All right.
still.
Mr. President, do we have a result?
We do. Colin was elected chair by a vote of 7-3.
All right. Thank you. Congratulations, Colin. I think, I have to say, welcome to the chairmanship. In accordance with tradition, I will vacate this seat expeditiously, and I'll allow you to run the remainder of the meetings for this fiscal year. Yep, that's actually what it says in the work here, so, but you can just, here, take the gavel and you can work from there if you want, but I'm gonna.
Just yell at me from there.
I'm going to move to the side. Just really quickly, if I may, thank you all for allowing me to lead you into last year in FY '25. We had our challenges, and I think we had our triumphs, and I appreciate all of the feedback, whether it was positive or negative, from everybody who participated last year. So thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for all your hard work.
Yes, thank you, Bill.
Good job.
And thank you for leaving me the script. But yes, thank you, Bill. And yeah, if I mess up, it's Bill's fault because I learned from him. Thank you, everyone. Looking forward to this year. I think our next order of business. Oh, Bill.
Yeah.
Just practicing.
Okay, very good. And I'll get better at calling on it. I believe our next order of business is the vice chair election. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. Are there any nominations for vice chair? Ashley?
2 for 2. I'd like to nominate Mike for vice chair. Is he still on? I hope so. People have to accept
I'm
it.
still here.
Oh, great.
Okay. Eric?
I'd like to nominate Reg for vice chair.
I'll accept it.
Are there other nominations on the floor? Okay. Mike, you were nominated first. If you want to, oh, sorry.
I would recommend getting seconds.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry. New to this, just got here. Are there seconds for Ashley's nomination for Mike? Bill, thank you. Is there a second for Eric's nomination for Reg?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Karen, second that. Thank you. Okay. Mike, you were nominated first. If you'd like to take a moment to share your piece.
Sure. So just as vice chair, I would make sure we have effective meetings. I'd really want us to make sure that we're efficiently and effectively setting our agendas and working through them at a deliberate pace, making sure that all board members get a chance to be heard while ensuring that we're continuing to make progress without spinning our wheels, make sure that we're working well with the staff and leveraging their expertise in support of the community. And then, we've got, sometimes some complicated stuff that needs a lot of work ahead of times and making sure that everything's going to be understood by everybody. And I'll be sure to put in all the work ahead of time to try to make sure everyone's understands what's coming up on our agendas. Over.
Thank you, Mike. Reg?
Okay, so I thank you for the nomination. I've been in the CA board for several years now, both as a member of the Oakland Mills board representing the village of Oakland Mills and now the village of Longreach. So I have a wealth of experience doing this. I have leadership experience as well, being in the military and as an officer. I look forward to, if elected, I would look forward to helping and assisting the chair, being supportive of the chair and working to make sure that what we do is for Columbia Association and for our villages as well. And I want to make sure that we have what we call that civility that we've been calling for and asking for. So I'm looking forward to making sure that that's something that we all do and adhere to. I also believe that this is an opportunity for us to kind of have you have your style and you've got to have that opposite style that support. And like I said, I will be there to help support you as you are the current chair. I'm looking forward to serving each one of you and also to serve the staff because I think the staff does a fantastic job. And I heartfelt will miss Susan when she leaves because I think she's an incredible person, an incredible church. I'm going to miss her. But all of that, I just want to say I'm here. I'm willing to work and work hard and support what we do. It's important. Thank you.
Thank you both. All right, I think we're ready for ballots.
Thank you. May I borrow your pen again? Thank you. What's that? You know what? I know. Don't tell my sergeant major, okay?
I'm not going to do it yet. All right, everyone ready? Do we have a vice chair, Mr. President?
We do. We have a total of Mike Galibersuch was elected by a vote of 7-3.
All right, thank you very much. All right, there is a resolution in the packet that I can read aloud for the election of chair and vice chair of the board. Resolved that Colin Sullivan is elected as chair of the board of directors of Columbia Association Incorporated for the period from May 8th, 2025 until the election of his successor at the board organizational meeting to be held on May 14th, 2026. And further resolved that Michael Galibersuch is elected as vice chair of the board of directors of the Columbia Association Incorporated for the period from May 8th, 2025 until the election of his successor at the board organizational meeting to be held on May 14th, 2026. Is there a motion to adopt this resolution? Sky
second.
first. Is there a second on this resolution? Ashley? Can we just do all in favor for this, or do we really need to?
Any objections?
Or do we need to, or any objections?
You can do any objections.
Okay, any objections? Okay, so moved. Great, I'm not actually banging that thing yet. Okay, great. We will move.
Colin,
Yes.
it's not going to bite, I promise.
It will. It's very loud. I've heard you drop it. Okay, very good. We will move on to the appointment of committees. So the first two committees, well, three committees. We have Audit Committee, we have Risk Committee, and then we have the Board Operations Committee. What I'd like to suggest tonight for the Audit Committee, actually, I suggest that we're going to take these all three at once because that's how we have done it, including the Inner Arbor Trust. So, again, Audit Committee, Risk Committee, and then the Inner Arbor Trust. Does anyone need a high-level overview of these committees, or are we okay because we had that last week? Okay, we're okay because we had that last week. Excellent. So what I'm going to suggest is I'm going to call aloud each of those committees. If it is your first or second choice, if you could please raise your hand. I'm going to just write it down in a spreadsheet real quick. And then after we do that for those three committees, I'm going to take a minute to see what the assignments look like and make sure that they are evenly spread. Does that make sense? Any questions about that process? Great. Okay. So if you are interested in audit.
I do have a question. So you said your first and second choice?
First and second choice.
Okay, so whenever you go to, so you can only volunteer for two, is what you're saying?
Not all three. You cannot volunteer for all three. Correct. So first and second choice.
Okay.
All right.
Hey,
So
Colin, can I ask a question real quick, though? Because the Board Operations Committee is supposed to be a rotation of board members. So we're volunteering for order, right? Not just.
we'll do correct. We will do Board Operations Committee after we do these three.
Okay.
Great. Okay. If you are interested in audit, if you could please raise your hand. And when I call it, you can put it down. Bill, Reg, Ashley, Sky, and I'm trying to look at chat online.
Looks clean.
And I don't see anything. Okay. For Risk, Delilah.
And Delilah.
And Delilah. Wes, okay. Any other takers? Mike,
My
thank you.
hands up,
Sorry. Okay, very good. And IAT, Reg, Ashley, Delilah. Sorry, Reg, I got you. Oh, Mike, and you raised your hand for that one too.
So you want us to vote for 2 out of the 3?
Yep,
Risk management.
thank you. Okay, everyone provided their first and second choice?
Yep.
Okay, very good. I would like to just call a brief recess for like 5-ish minutes so we can re-adjourn at like 8:13 according to the room clock.
Awesome.
Thanks. Exactly, something like that. Okay. Thank you for the few moments to review that. So, Audit Committee, I have Reg, Sky, and Bill. For Risk, I have Wes, Delilah, and Mike. And for IIT, I have Ashley and Mike. So those will be the committee assignments there. For the Board Operations Committee, I'm just wondering if there are known outstanding conflicts. Yes, Sky?
All of these interfere with my village board meeting except for the June date.
Okay.
So I would like to request the June date, June 5th.
Okay, so in other words, you have a preference to be on the Q1
Yes.
BOC? Very good. Are there other known conflicts?
I can't pull up the dates fast enough.
Okay. I was waiting for Ashley, if she had known conflict dates.
The June one, I think, was an issue. Which page is it? Wes needs to see too. This isn't just me. What are the dates of the meetings? Do you have them in front of you?
They in the packets. Yeah, I think that they are.
June 5th, August 25th. November 24th and February 23rd.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, just the June one then.
Okay. All right. So with that being said then, so the Q1 BOC members, we will add Delilah and Sky. For Q2, we will have Bill and Reg. For Q3, we will have Ashley and Eric. And Q4, we will have Wes and Karen. So those are assignments. Sean, did I miss anything?
No,
Yes.
Delilah and
Q1,
Sky, Bill and Reg.
Yep. Ashley and Eric for Q3.
Okay.
And Q4 is Wes and Karen.
Okay. Got them all.
Okay. So those are the assignments that we have for committees. I believe we are now on item 6 of our agenda for the selection of CA representatives. Oh, nope, did that, sorry. We did 6 as well in conjunction with the appointments of committees. So we're on 7 to the reappointment of officers for the Columbia Association. Sean?
And there's a resolution in the packet?
There's also a resolution for the IIT.
Yeah, did we do IAT?
Oh, IAT, yes.
Oh,
sorry.
yes, sorry. Okay, let me read that aloud. All right, resolved that Ashley Vaughn and Michael Leversuch are selected as representatives of Columbia Associations Incorporated to the Inner Harbor Trust Incorporated Board of Directors for the period from May 8th, 2025 until their successors are selected by Columbia Association's Board of Directors. Is there a motion for that?
I move.
Oh, God. Okay, Bill, I heard, was the first. Is there a second?
Yes.
Sky? Is there any objection? Okay, by consent, that resolution passes. Okay, now we're on to election of officers, I believe. There is I'm just reading this resolution.
Resolution, correct.
Okay. The resolution in the packet for the election of officers presented as resolved that the Board of Directors hereby reappoints the following officers of the corporation effective May 8th, 2025. Sean McInnes as President and CEO, John Kuchno as the Secretary, Stephanie Nestor as the Treasurer, Stephen Reeves as the Assistant Secretary, and further resolved that the Board of Directors hereby removes Susan Krabby as Vice President of the corporation effective May 8th, 2025. Is there a adoption for the resolution?
A motion.
Motion, sorry. Gah. Thank you. Ashley first. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Is there any objection? Okay. By consent, this resolution passes. All right. We are on to the next item in the agenda, which is schedule of BOD meetings in FY 2026. Do you have any commentary, Sean?
Nope, in the packet, you'll see the dates, starting with today, the 8th, and then moving forward, the next meeting would be May 29th, and then June 26th. I won't go through the list, but you can see the list in your packet.
Is there a motion to adopt this schedule?
Sure.
Reg first, is there a second?
I'll second.
Ashley second. Is there any discussion?
Yes.
Ashley?
Thanks. So when I was looking at the list of meetings and I compared it to the list of required topics that we have to have, there were essentially 5 meetings that there's no actual agenda item that has to occur, and then obviously the other remaining 9 meetings, there's still room for more topics. So I realize it's not something that staff could even answer right now as I'm just bringing this up in discussion. But I do think that there's room for us to consider reducing the number of meetings because a lot of the topics that we had were operational. And one of my thoughts around that actually, because I know part of the feedback would be that would reduce resident speak out opportunities. But I think a lot of what we've heard, particularly in this past year, and I know in past board iterations, is a need for something like town hall. So I think if we were to cancel some of those said meetings, which I'm happy to share with you all the document that I put together on it, and again, potentially there were 5 that could be canceled. I think that would create room for offering a town hall if that's something that staff sees a way to implement effectively. So that would be both an opportunity for reducing the number of meetings, which I think is a barrier for a lot of community members to participate or have interest in participating on the board. There's very seldom elections that are even contested. So that could help with community engagement. And then again, creating space for town halls where really a lot of the resident speak out we do hear is more geared towards problems that the staff should be addressing and not the board. Yep.
You, Ashley?
Yep.
Eric?
So how would a town hall differ from a meeting? If we're all here, it's a meeting. I mean, if we have 10 of us in this room, we're having a meeting. So.
Have you ever been to a town hall?
Yes.
Do they operate by Robert's Rules of Order?
I mean, it depends, but by definition, if the 10 of us are here, it's a meeting.
Right, no, it wouldn't be us running the meeting, it would be the staff.
So would we be here? Would the 10 of us be here?
Bill?
I kind of like this idea. I kind of had this idea independent of you, but I always thought that it would be great to do town halls, like one at the Columbia Gym and one at the Supreme Sports Club, so that we were out of this room, out of our element, and then just allow people to just come up, and rather than 3 minutes, give them all 6 minutes, fully formed thoughts, and just let everybody tell us what they think, if they have new ideas, if they have other things they want to talk about. I'd like to see some new faces. We get repeat customers here, which is great. I like the folks who show up all the time, but it'd be nice to see new voices and new ideas come forth from the residents. So I could see an entire meeting where we just did residents speak out, and we probably have to limit it to like 2 hours or something. We don't want to go until dawn, but we certainly could provide a greater opportunity for people who don't usually get to communicate with us, get back to, serving the residents and stuff.
Thank you.
Karen.
Karen?
Yeah, are you calling on me, Colin?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I like the idea of town halls. I think Sky brought them up last year. She wanted us to hold some town halls. But the cost was, it was going to be expensive, but I still think that we should try to do them. But do we think that the residents want that? So one of the things I think we need to do a better job is actually finding out what it is that the residents want. So if we're going to hold I don't think that we should just go out and hold a town hall and hope that people show up. I think that we should go out and ask the residents, would you like to have it? What is the best way that you would like to communicate with the Columbia Association? Would a town hall be something that you would like to participate in? If we held a town hall at the gym, would you come and speak your mind? Would you, And the other thing is the format of the town halls. Are they just going to be open-ended, or are they going to have a very specific topic so that staff, if staff is actually facilitating these, which members of staff actually need to be there for takeaways and things like that? And then also, how are we going to capture things that are actually actionable by the board?
Yep. All right. Thank you, Karen. I'm going to go to Sky.
Yeah, I brought this up a couple of years ago and plan to bring it up at the BOC meeting in June. A couple of years ago, the staff looked into it and came up with a cost of a $25K per meeting. That is not what I had in mind. What I had in mind is moving from village to village. One of us could be the moderator for that night. Some of the topics could be specific. Some of them could be general, where anybody could just say whatever they wanted to for the 2 or 3 minutes. And basically what I kind of got from the staff was that people are not willing to go out. I think an important thing to look at is the charrette that the sustainability group had. They asked a question and got a lot of good responses from that as to how people wanted to learn about CA and how people wanted to get their information. Eric said that he had a town meeting once that was very successful in River Hill. And what I'm proposing this year in my village is not to have office hours because people reach me anyway, but to have a different question each month for people to send emails into myself or the village manager, and then that topic would be summarized, and some of those topics would then evolve into town hall meetings at our village. So there are a lot of ways we could do this.
Thank you. Are there any new members with new comments? Okay, if I can, what I might suggest is, what I'm hearing is I think that there's still going to be a staff lift one way or another to be able to investigate and to be able to suggest topics. So what I think might be prudent is if we just approve the schedule as it's presented, and then we can address this through the BOC and have the BOC be able to either remove or not have agenda items, and that would therefore mean that we would not have a formal board meeting that evening, and instead we could have another event. I don't know if that would require additional direction, or I don't know how that sounds, or what else would be needed?
No, that sounds good. Once the board decides on the dates, the meetings that are being removed, and how many town halls, or one, or if you want to start with one and then see how that goes. So the BOC can make that decision. We can start from there.
Okay. Are there any other new board members that have commentary? Delilah?
I have a question. The next meeting is the 22nd or the 29th, because it's been published.
29th.
Great, thank you.
Are there any other, oh, Mike has his hand raised. Sorry if I have been missing you.
I think Sean probably already covered it, but I just wanted to make sure that the potential uncertainty around, maybe some meetings are going to get canceled, that's not going to create some unforeseen challenge for the board, for the staff that we're just ignoring. I just want to confirm that.
Are there?
No.
No. Okay, thank you, Sean. Are there any other new board member, new comments? Okay, Eric.
So I've got a question. So we're voting on a calendar that has, I believe, 20 meetings, but those, what?
I think it's 15.
Or 15 meetings? 15, okay. We're voting on a calendar that has, I think, 15 to 20 meetings. And those have dates associated with them. And then the BOC might just take some of those dates off the calendar. How does that work? Because we as a board are voting for this calendar. We're voting to have these specific dates as board meetings. So how would the BOC delete dates?
My understanding procedurally is that if there are no agenda items, or if there's no new business, I think it might be, I could be wrong about if it's new business, but if there's no business to discuss, that meeting could be canceled by the chair or the president.
That's correct. That's in the operational guidelines.
Okay.
So if there is no business to discuss, the chair or the president can cancel the meeting.
Bill, did you have something?
Just something to add on to help my friend from River Hill. If we had a meeting in which there was we had balanced meetings for the quarter and the BOC in which we had a meeting where there was no business to conduct, the BOC at that point, using that meeting date, could create a town hall meeting or something else, or not necessarily approve a new business, old business format, but possibly something else for that particular meeting.
Thank you. Ashley?
Great. Just before we get too far from it, I want to clarify, I by no means think that the people or the main people at this table should be planning a town hall or prescripting exactly what should be happening. There are expert event planners at Columbia Association that I think would be able to create a successful town hall and have a proposal in terms of how it is advertised. If, there is a great interest in it, I agree that's an important element to it. I mentioned the town hall as a possibility to replace the resident speakouts that could go away with reducing the number of meetings that we would have in place.
Very good. Thank you. Okay. Are there other comments? Eric, you've spoken twice, unfortunately, so we're going to carry on if there's no other comments. Okay. We can do a roll call vote for the calendar. So the motion as it was presented was to adopt the dates as presented in the packet. Okay. Delilah?
Yes.
Ashley?
Yep.
Sky?
Yes.
Wes?
Yep.
Reg?
Sure.
Mike?
Yes.
Karen?
No.
Eric?
Yes, and I assume these are the dates we're going to have meetings, because that's what we're
Bill?
adopting.
Yes.
And I am also yes. So that is 9-1-0. The motion will pass. Okay. May I have a motion to adjourn the annual organization meeting of the FY26 Columbia Association Board of Directors?
So motioned.
Second.
Thank you very much. Is there any objection? Great. Meeting adjourned at 8:32 p.m. We now go to the meeting of the Columbia Council. Bill, you're currently chair of the Columbia Council.
You can't drag me back into this.
All righty. So we will go to the Columbia Council meeting. Good evening. Welcome to the May 8th, 2025 annual meeting of the Columbia Council. My name is Colin Sullivan, and I am the chair of the FY26 Board of Directors. This meeting is being streamed, both audio and video, and will be available on YouTube after the meeting. It is a hybrid meeting, both online and in person. If you have cell phone or other devices, please silence it or turn it off so that everyone can be heard. We will now do roll call for the Columbia Council. Sky.
Yes, here.
Reg.
Here.
Karen.
Here.
Wes.
Here.
Mike.
Here.
Delilah.
Here.
Eric.
Here.
Bill.
Here.
Ashley.
Here.
And I am here. Sean.
Here?
May I have a motion to approve the agenda for the meeting of the Columbia Council?
Motioned.
Ashley first. Is there a second?
Second.
Bill seconds.
This is fun.
Is there any objection? Then by consent, the agenda is approved. May I have a motion to approve the minutes from the May 2024 annual meeting of the Columbia Council?
So,
Ashley first.
I'll
Is there a
second
second? Thank you, Reg. Is there any discussion? Great. Is there any opposition to the motion? Great. By consensus, the minutes are approved. All right, moving right along. May I have a motion to approve the resolution appointing to the Columbia Council Chair and Vice Chair hold on, I didn't switch PDFs. See, that's why I should have changed PDFs a second ago. I can read the resolution, which reads, be it resolved that the chair and vice chair of the Columbia Council shall be the same person as the chair and vice chair of Columbia Association's Board of Directors elected to those positions on May 8th, 2025. The chair and vice chair of the Columbia Council shall serve for the period from May 8th, 2025 until the election of their successors at the Columbia Council meeting to be held on May 14th, 2026. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Thank you. Ashley first. Is there a second?
I second it.
Thank you, Sky. Discussion? No. Is there any opposition? By consent, the resolution passes. hopefully everyone had fun at the annual meeting of the Columbia Council. Do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting of the Columbia Council?
Motion.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Bill. Any discussion? All right, the Columbia Council meeting has been adjourned at 8:35 PM.
Great job.
All right, going downhill here. Good.
All right.
Congrats on the baby, Mike.
Yes. 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 Gotta be 4.
Oh, the